So just say we were on that first sentence in that paragraph. That doesn't mean that they can't see the context paragraph before it. They just can't translate it. So even though you're chunking content, you're saying they can get 5 segments in which they can translate. It doesn't necessarily hide the context of the document, of the content. Okay. So you have a target screen, you have the automatic or machine translation. Again, you can swap out, or you can have multiple machine translation engines if you'd like. Put that in project management. And you have terminology. Certain terms in here have been designated as terminology. This is excessive, but it's just more illustrated from the screenshot view. Generally beyond that. Sort of attributes, what dictionary that's coming from. You also have a translation memory result. And so it highlights what where the TM match is from within your source, gives you the translation, gives you an attribution as to which translation memory vault it came from, and it also gives you an opportunity to rate or rank the TM. So we're adding more and more quality reviews, not just of for attribution of the vault, but we're also going to start to add attribution of the translator. So some translators have higher sort of reputation management or reputation ratings within the system. So we're trying to sort of further that idea of reputation management within community translation. So that'll be added, and that's where sort of stars come from. So if you're the original translator and people start ranking your translations high, there's also observational data that's applied to it. The idea that as more people use your TMs, you can actually assign point segments to that so people can start to get in there. There's a leaderboard and stuff, and you can create, as a community admin, when we get through, we'll see you can create models for how many segments you can chunk. Let's assign different points, translation of segments, translation or review of segments. Your segments get accepted, all those different things. You can define those that have points to score leaderboards, which tend to be very motivational for communities. Okay, before we move on, I'm sure probably those are the screenshots that highlight different things, but there's hotkeys. So you don't have to use your mouse if you don't want to, and so you can just sort of do control whatever for pulling in whatever TM result or MT. It is an AGIS interface, so it is drag and drop. So even though it's a web-based app, it acts very much like a client-based software platform, where you can sort of just highlight a section of the TM result, and say in this case, just pull that and just drag it over and drop, or drag it 90% over and drop it in there. Okay, up top you also have, you want to refer to dictionaries, you have dictionary tab. You also have notes, so you can leave notes on a segment-by-segment basis for reviewers or anybody else coming into the system, or project manager. So it'll roll up notes for a project manager review. It'll blink. So right now, see, it says jobs 5. If you're a reviewer and you're coming through here and you're coming to a segment in which there's a note, there'll be a 1 in there, and it'll briefly blink yellow and notify them that there's a note attached to that segment. So encourage them to take a look at it. And gadgets, and we'll look at that. It's probably easier to look at in the live software. It's the idea of that open social implementation I talked about. So different widgets. A couple of reference implementations we have, so Twitter and instant messaging. So sort of a universal IM client is built into the software, so you can IM with other translators as you're collaborating and doing that in real time. Okay. Yeah, so this is just talking about what I've just talked about. One thing I didn't mention is the formatting aspect. So we ingest content based on various formats where we strip out the formatting tags and store those separately and render the plain text. So once that's done, it's reapplied when the document is downloaded. So after the translation, after the content has been translated, and you want to download the target in, say, a Word format or Excel format or whatever it is, it reapplies the formatting tags to the target document and presents that to you for your use. So the only difference in this slide is that if you don't agree with some of the segmentation in here, you can choose to merge segments. So that's what that very small blue parentheses is at the end of the highlighted segment. You can say this should be combined. So you have choices. This, for whatever reason, this screenshot is of a workbench that doesn't have, right up near the logo generally, there's a little way to break out the panes. So you can say, if you work on a multi-monitor environment and you want to have source on one pane, target on the other, resources at the bottom, you can reconfigure the UI and sort of move it around onto a multi-monitor environment. You can make it 3 monitors, you can take all 3 and separate those out.
So you find that segmenting idea, imagine you've been given a chunk of text, but you think it is relevant to extend that, but you don't have privileges or access to translating another chunk.
Right.
How does that work?
Yeah, in an assigned or self-assigned model, you can do that. In the community translation, if you don't believe in segmentation and it's not in your chunk, you can't do it. Yes. I'm not sure what we're showing here. The only thing I talk about is you can set it up so I think in the default view it's an exact match, it automatically inserts and it skips to the next segment. Yeah, and took a screenshot of everything I just talked about. So this is just terminology, TM heads. You can also, one thing I haven't talked about is there's a little yellow tag over TM, translation memory hits. Big negative TM if it's not of a certain match. Most people consider it noise. So you can filter those results. So you can say, I only want to see matches above 60% or something like that. So you can do away with some of the smaller segment matches.
Do you have own translation memory, or does each translator bring his own memory to the table?
Yeah, so I want to make sure I'm clear about that, but there's the public translation memory vault is a public vault that is across clients. So it's pooled. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think it's about 200 million segments last I checked. It represents 212 or so language pairs. Obviously some have a lot more than others, but the idea, so yes, a translator can bring his own and simply use his own if he'd like and apply that to the current document being translated. They can also choose to use other TM vaults, a public TM vault, so there is a shared full translation memory vault that works not just for one organization, but is shared across clients.
What is the source of those 200 million?
Just the clients themselves.
Oh, so it's not like European Union and stuff?
No, we didn't do all that stuff.
Really?
We thought about it.
So just your guys have put in 200 million?
Yep. A lot of it's come from corporate clients that just load it up and don't need
They don't care that others see.
Yeah, some are sort of progressive. You have to be progressive to use the startup software.
What happens if you have 3 translators giving 3 different versions? How do you know that in your public memory?
Of the same segment?
Of the same segment. How do you decide this is the best or it's, or you propose 3 options?
So I want to make, let me answer the question in one way just to make sure it's clear how the other part of the software works. The translation model is either assigned or self-assigned, or even if it's chunked up, people aren't translating the same segment, right? But words are repetitive, right? Maybe it comes from other documents that's the same segment.
Exactly, that's
right.
Yeah.
So if they're coming from other documents, then they will have multiple